Okay, so we have here with us today Mr. Jim Jenkins, and he is a local artist. You can find his work over in Water Street Studios, which is located in Batavia. Many of you probably skateboarded past there or walked past the Water Street Studios, but you need to go in there sometime and check out all of the wonderful artwork that's down there. So Jim's going to talk to, Mr. Jenkins is going to talk to us a little bit today about his art and the process that he uses to do his art. So, Mr. Jenkins, can you just tell us a little bit about your background in art and how you started?
Sure. I started very early. In my earliest memories, I was probably 3 years old standing next to my mother's sewing machine. And she was a great seamstress. And she actually taught me how to sew. But the earliest things, she would give me fabric and a needle and some thread, and I would sew these amorphous shapes together, and then I would title them. And I was 3 or 4 years old. So, and art has always been the thing that I focused on through my entire life, and it just kept developing. I would copy paintings, and I would just do all sorts of things growing up. And we always had materials in the house. We always had things to work with. My dad was a mechanic. My mom was a seamstress. So working with our hands and doing things was something that was just part of the way I grew up. I went to the University of Iowa and graduated with a degree in sculpture, and then found it very difficult to make a living as an artist, as a young person. So I had some other employment, but I learned a lot about engineering and electronics and how to make things and how to get along with people and how to build structures. And eventually I was able to work full-time at being an artist. And I used a lot of what I learned along the way in unrelated things to art to have a way of making art that very few people that were my peers had the abilities to do. So one of the things I always like to say is sometimes it doesn't seem as though what you're working on might be the right thing in terms of making art. It always turns out to be the right thing.
Right. So whatever activity, things that come your way, experiences in your life, they can always be a part of whatever you're creating. It's a kind of exactly what you're just saying. It's awesome. Yeah. So, all right. So thank you so much for that background. So how do you see your artwork today? How would you describe the art that you do today?
I would say that the work is normally related to the big things in life. The big things in life, meaning life itself, death, the environment, how we get along with people, and what are the important questions. So my work draws on a number of different areas, science being one of them, and items that are used in science, I incorporate those. I would say that even the large sculptural work has elements of what I would say are collage. Even though the large sculptures are made out of steel and glass and various elements that you wouldn't think of are collage type things, but I think in terms of that way, that I build up structures that are multi-layered and become a unit because of the way I put things together.
So do you have anything there with you in your workshop that you would be able to kind of show us how the process that you've used, as far as like you're saying, taking the big picture thoughts and how it translates or goes into your artwork? Do you have anything there that you could kind of talk through that?
Sure. Behind me, and I hope you can see it.
Yeah.
There are two different machines and they get put together. One drives this other one. And what it does is it takes a digital recording that I make in another machine of the sound of snowflakes hitting wire, detecting the sound of snowflakes. And I take that information that is digitally recorded and I change it and make it an analog signal and take it over to this machine that actually cuts a record and places the tracks of the snowflake sound on X-ray film.
Wow.
And
Cool.
all of the, with a very few exceptions, all of the equipment that is here is, well, I fabricated it, I made it, but it's either recycled material, repurposed material, things that I found, things that I've been given, and then I bring it all together into a synthesized device. The overarching principle behind the thing, though, is why record the sound of snowflakes? Well, because they're so fragile. And the piece, in a general sense, in a larger sense, speaks to our fragility on this planet and how we have affected the environment. Because you think of how difficult it is to record the sound, and how difficult it is for the processes to go forward. But we have impacted the environment in a significant way, and even now, the amount of snow we receive is minimal. And so the piece is really about the environment and how it degrades. One of the things that's incorporated into it is and this part of it is a fetal stethoscope. And our relationship to the earth should be as, in my opinion, as having as little impact on the earth as a snowflake hitting a wire, but it's not the case. And the idea that we are infants on this earth, and we need to bring that innocence and that fragility into a larger understanding.
That's so. Thank you for sharing that with us. I think you've really hit on all of the ideas in our book that we're going to be reading, and the importance of making things significant and expressing what's important through those things that are significant to us. You really did it's really awesome, a great piece of work. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. I enjoy making these things. So.
Yeah, I know. So I hope that I think we're going to wrap it up unless you have something else that you want to include in our discussion here. But I'm going to encourage all of our students to continue to come down and check out your work, and to hopefully they'll be inspired to build some things just like what you do, but to kind of think through that and just think that every time they're looking at things throughout their day, or they can combine things and really get a point across with something that they create. So thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.